Tom, I got to say, you texted me the other day and you said, wow, Pat, I can't believe I never told you this before. But
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I wasn't that serious. But you did say, wow, we've gotten these people have signed up for Patreon. I don't know how to thank them. This is really cool. And the whole pod thing is nice. And I'm having fun and I hope they're having fun. So
nice and good.
Nice and good. Nice and good. Here's what I want to say is we're going to read some names because we can't quite put it into words, but we're very grateful. We want to keep this as short as possible to get into our Sk8er Boi episode.
Yeah, lots of new Patreon supporters lately. We have J.W. Johnson.
Who is my dad?
Who is your dad?
My pop-pop.
Friend from college? Something?
My college newspaper pop-pop.
Oh, okay.
But not my biological dad, ?
Show me the evidence. All right, we have Johnny Leftwich.
Never guessed for the test. Johnny Sandwich? Sorry, that was awful. I'm sorry, Johnny Leftwich. I clearly heard your name and wasn't funny. We're off to, this is take 4, everybody.
I think
we
it's
are
5.
It's take 5. Mulan has been sung. There's been things happening here behind the scenes. Maybe we'll put it together for the post show. It's been utter chaos. Johnny, he has a podcast. You met him at a podcast conference.
Yeah, so he had one called The Backstage Van where he interviewed touring musicians after their shows, and he's currently working on a new one called Steve Johnson's Happy Hour Podcast. And
Steve Johnson's Happy Hour Podcast?
Happy Hour Podcast.
Hey,
yeah. And we have Christina Plunkett, recently signed up as an emo veteran. Christina.
Hey, thanks, Christina.
Thank you. And we have Amanda Jones, long time. I don't know. I get so nervous. Amanda Jones, friend from high school, or just a girl in high school.
Friend's a stretch. Very afraid to talk to her at the time. James, who we mention on the show a lot, one of our core music Sherpas, his brother Billy, older brother Billy, had a friend named Carl, who is Amanda's husband.
Hey-o.
So if you listen to the show, our town was that small. It took us 3 people to get to the other person. Anyway. Yeah, thanks, Amanda. That's super cool. We've mentioned her on the show before. She's been listening for a while, as have a lot of you, and it's just really nice. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, A. B. Sk8er Boi.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast.
Sk8er Boi by
Shall we?
The pop punk Valkyrie herself, Canadian goddess Avril Lavigne,
a.k.a. Melissa the Clone.
Okay, we don't want to spend a lot of time on the conspiracy.
No,
but
other than the fact that we both are adamantly non-believers. I don't want to speak for you, Tom.
I wouldn't speak for me, Pat.
Oh, okay. Here's what I think. I thought it was let's see. Okay, the conspiracy theory is what it has to be is that Avril unfortunately passed, and they just got lookalikes to continue being Avril to keep there's a profitability there in terms of album sales, whatever. That is not what it is. There's a very specific kind of, I guess, cloniness to the theory. And then Clone's name is Melissa.
Why?
That I think
Why
speaks to the bizarre age. I know,
Melissa?
Vaguely Canadian. It's hard to say. Yes, I'm gonna go on the record fully as saying I'm not in on the Avril clone. Just very thankful for her work, I think, ultimately. But I wanted to get out ahead of that before we dip into, and I don't know if you want to say a few words as well, but just gonna knock that right out the gate.
I love the conspiracy. I've got the cork boards, the red string, putting all the pieces together at home. I would love for it to be true. Well, I don't want. You
got boxes full of Melissa, dude.
I got boxes.
We could do 18 takes of this start to the show, which we've done 5 already. I would still prompt you for the Always Sunny thing just for my own enjoyment. I don't even know if anybody else out there who hears this post show is going to like it or the show itself, but I'm over here just loving every minute of it. Okay.
All right. Anyways, let's talk
Sk8er
about
Boi.
it. Sk8er Boi, 2002.
Let's talk about it. Let's chat it up. Let's talk about where the world needed to be for those words to be spelled that way.
I mean, okay, which came first? AIM screen names that were spelled like this, or did this prompt the AIM screen names?
I think it's a reflection of the screen name culture.
Okay. So the thing that I find...
Well, it depends when Online Songs by Blink came out. I believe it's on Enema in 1999. This was 2002. I think we're just in that 3 to 5 year stretch where AIM was prompting Hollywood movies such as You've Got Mail, etc., etc. AOL CDs are getting thrown around at local parks, scratched up on blacktops and shit. I think it's just a different version of the internet back then. No Google, no Facebook. We're talking maybe an early version of Yahoo, but AOL is taking shit on everybody's face. That's not true at all. They're just offering a lot of services and is a popular place for people to do their email. But yeah, screen name culture in full swing. We're going to get to the tech aspect of the video and the storyline later.
Oh yeah.
But it's definitely very 2002 kind of capturing video-esque moments. We'll get to that later. Do you have any fast and or fun facts? A segment that we have yet, after 4 years, to appropriately name.
So I've got just like a couple figures, I guess. This is obviously Avril Lavigne's breakout, her debut album, and it did very fucking well. Apparently it sold 16 million copies so far, with like 7 million in the US alone, which is crazy to me.
On a scale of not a lot to a lot, where does that land for you?
That's a ton.
A lot. Cool.
Like usually, I think the most successful album we've talked about so far was 5 times platinum, which would have been 5 million. So this is 16 million. That's diamond plus. I don't know. It's crazy. The thing that stands out the most about like the numbers and just this time in general, I remember, so I have an older sister, Caitlin. She's just about 2 years older than me. And when this album came out, she was going to learn how to play guitar. Like she wanted to so badly. I don't think she's ever seen like a young woman in this style of music before. So for her, it felt very encouraging, empowering. And I thought that was really, really cool. I don't think she was the first to the scene to be like a front woman in pop punk, but the fact that it seemed like so new at the time and it was so incredibly successful, I don't know, just like that seemed really interesting to me. One of my favorite memories of that and my sister wanting to play guitar is we went to World of Music, which was our local music store that's still around, still killing it. And she like went to go look at guitars. And she told the guy like, oh, I want to be like Avril Lavigne. Couldn't afford a guitar at the time. So the dude gave her a Fender like product magazine. And she acted like he gave her a guitar. She was like, she gave me a magazine and it's Fender. They're the biggest name in guitars. And she like never heard of Fender 5 minutes ago, but was like, she treated the magazine itself like her whole punk career was right there in front of her. And I always thought that was so like endearing and so charming. She never did learn how to play guitar, although she did buy one during quarantine.
And years later, she would let you play Alexis on Fire songs in the car and even sometimes sing along to the singy parts. So it was a long journey for all of us.
It was a super long journey. But, you know, we talk about Paramore a lot, like opening the door for the kind of punk, bombastic front women. But I do want to give Avril a ton of credit for doing something similar years and years before. I thought it was awesome at the time. And a lot of people agree.
I think we've talked about this on the show before. Like, there is no real reason to say they're similar.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
You know what I mean? Because really, they aren't that similar, especially based on the first two. You know, so there's really not that much. But like, I appreciate you making that point.
So tons of awards in 2003. Nominated for a Grammy, Best Female Rock Vocal Performance. Lost out to Sheryl Crow. And I was just looking at the 2003 Grammys. Norah Jones swept nearly every category, winning 5 or 6 Grammys that year.
What Insanity. Was the song off that album? Do you know?
Don't Know Why I Didn't Come.
Damn, it's a good one.
Oh, it was like album of the year, you know, female act of the year, song of the year, production, like everything, all the big ones. Norah Jones just wiped the floor clean.
Good for Nora Jones. Well deserved. And you let me talk about Sheryl Crow for like 40 minutes in one of the early episodes of the show.
I did. You tried to make
Cheryl's an
her.
OG.
You tried to put her on our Mount Rushmore for that like early.
Which
photo.
I'm not even sure what the mount would have been representing. I just wanted her up there. Be like, look, I don't know what the theme or category is, but Sheryl is going up there. I just know that much.
We talked for quite a long time, but
it wasn't a good show.
No. Okay, so she was also nominated at the MTV Music Video Awards for Best Pop Video. Didn't win, but it was a nomination. A couple video awards for Much Music Video. Not really sure what that is. Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards for Favorite Song. And I love these two awards. Radio Disney Music Awards. Best Video That Rocks. It was nominated and
nice
and won the category.
Which is true.
I know.
It fucking does rock.
And
like, what an accurate, honestly, what a legitimately accurate accolade.
And then we'll get to this later, but she did win the award for Best Song to Air Guitar.
Okay, there's a moment in the video where she herself air guitars, and it's very powerful.
It's a good moment.
So I think it's one of the better music video moments we've talked about on the show, quite honestly. It in its simplicity, it contains multitudes. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I just really liked it.
I got one more.
Yes. Yeah, please go. Every time I interrupt you, it hasn't been funny yet, so I'm hoping you edit all these out. I just make it you talking and delivering good information.
In 2017, Spin Magazine rated it the 5th best pop punk chorus of the 21st century.
Fifth? Who beat it?
Who else? Let's see who won above her.
Because I think, here's the thing, Tom. This is not wasting time while you Google something. This is me just really trying to find the words to what I'm about to say. And the thing is about this chorus is, you know what? I'll just use the Disney Channel's words. It rocks, okay? This music video
rocks.
Hey, it rocks, right? Okay. No, pop punk choruses, the top five. Okay, so you're starting there. You're like, okay, I can picture them in the room, the editorial room. Got to have Avril in there because she's an OG. What the hell? Are there 4 that would beat it?
Dude, we
okay.
We have done so many songs on this list. Number 4, Sugar We're Going Down. Number 3, Helena. Number 2, Ocean Avenue. Number 1, The Middle by Jimmy Eat World.
Jimmy.
Woo.
We are the Jimmy stands for the Jimmy fans. You come here for the Jimmy Eat World news.
We give you the
knows
Jimmy.
It. We give you the Jimmy like you've never received the Jimmy before. That was gross. I didn't think it was going to be that gross. I did not think it was going to end up being like that. Okay, that's a good list, but also an unfair list because there was kind of like a screamy energy from Under the Court Tree and stuff. So it's like if you're really going pop punk, and these next 2 weeks we're going to be talking about Avril and Simple Plan, and there's kind of like a childlike innocence to the pop part of the pop punk of Sk8er Boi, and of next week we'll be talking about I'm Just a Kid. I don't know if it's fair to say it's behind those things because this was just like 2000s cultural resets being laid down, this groundwork, these bricks, you know what I mean? It's almost like you can't rank it amongst anything that came later because I don't know. I'm just trying to not just gloat, but like we were still playing off screen name culture in these song titles. You know what I mean? Like people hadn't even started wearing that many wristbands yet, although they were a few. Let's talk about this.
Avril
Frame
being
one
of them. Yeah.
Right. Like one of the first shots you see in the music video, people graffitiing, they're setting up, like the theme of the video is they're setting up this like in traffic concert. Maybe we can talk about the logistics of this plot later.
Yeah, Jesus.
But early on when the lyrics come in, she just pops onto this chair, this young Canadian person, and she's got the studded bracelet, the hat, the shirt of some random middle school in North Carolina, a tie over that because why not? And not to treat this like an MTV or an episode of MTV's like I Love the 2000s or whatever, but it's like just hasn't been the same since. You know what I mean? Like she just as soon as she lands in that chair, the world has been different, it feels like, at least for us in our musical. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a weight carried in what she does from landing in the chair up until the moment where she does the air guitar in the taxi or the car they're taking to the show to, I don't know, I think there's a magnetic force to the whole thing, to be honest. I think it's heavier than a pop chorus, if that makes any sense. I don't know. There's just something like, man, just so immediate. Maybe it wasn't at the time. I'm not sure. We were young. We were 12. It's not like we were 16 and driving around or in high school at the time yet. But I don't know if you have any thoughts about that. Just, I don't know what I'm trying to say other than put some respect on the name, I guess. Not that people don't already.
Right. Like a lot of the other songs in that list are incredible. Fat Lip, what was it? Addicted was on there. Like tons of great choruses. But when you think about, like the culture of that time, the shirt and the tie, tons of eyeliner, which I thought was the coolest thing at the time. Like even guys were wearing that much eyeliner. Like this is a cultural phenomenon. It's not just a pop punk chorus, but it's got a really good pop punk chorus. We'll give it that. So, I mean, it almost seems like power pop with punk influences. If you want to get real, I don't know, specific with that. I do kind of want to talk about that because, we talk about like, is this a song you're blasting with the windows down or is it like headphones on in private?
Oh no, this is a windows down song. I think by any measure, I think that's what's so universal about Avril, from the Disney Awards to the Grammys, my guy. Everyone can this music, like I was joking earlier, but this music video rocks. Like,
no, it does.
Windows down, unabashed, like it's Avril. She's untouchable in a way that like so much of pop punk is kind of like, I'm alone with my thoughts and things aren't going great. But this is like, could be played at a party just as easily. You know what I mean?
And everyone would love it. Yeah.
So there's something to be said for it, achieving over the normal expectations of the scene, I think.
I think there was, what was it? Who were we talking about a couple weeks ago where it's like, was it cool? Oh, Good Charlotte, right? There was some of that with Good Charlotte. There was a lot of it with Simple Plan, which we'll talk about. Avril, I feel like she got a pass, even though I felt like there was this looming, like, is she core punk or whatever? I mean, who cares, right? Like, we were too young to care. I certainly don't care at almost 30 years old if someone's core punk or not. But
I'm really glad that, I don't know if it was a Canadian thing or what, the Skids and Letterkenny or something maybe speak to like the fact that it's like, for a Canadian to dress like that, then they're real or something. I'm not really sure what the culture is. I know we're only separated by a few miles from Erie across the lake there, but it's kind of like Good Charlotte got a ton of shit and Avril didn't, which is awesome because it's like, I don't want to question this. I'm just having a great time. Right, this is awesome music, and this music video is super fun. So I'm kind of glad there wasn't any outside noise in regard to any of those types of things. Thoughts on the riff of the song itself? We're talking about the setting up the music video. Paint cans, they're putting anarchy stars up everywhere in the town to let people know.
Well, that was her logo.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It was her logo, and people in the town in this music video know the logo, and they know what that means. Apparently, I'm learning just now. Yes, I didn't know that was her logo. My apologies to everyone for everything, always. A lot of spray. Can we just talk about? Well, let's talk about this. Here's the thing where you get to drink. I'm moving on to something without moving on from something. The I don't know, thoughts on the riff itself. I think everything about this works. Sometimes we talk about Ben Gibbard's songwriting being so effortless and it just happens. It's like everything about this thing is never trying too hard at any given moment. It just hits and everything about it works and everything about it feels right from the first note, kind of. Any thoughts on the riff?
I feel kind of conflicted because it almost, I want to say that it's a weak lead line, but I can't think of anything that would possibly be better. So it's like, it's perfect for what it is. It sounds very familiar. Just two notes kind of over and over. Maybe sounds very Tom DeLonge. But it works. It's super loud. It's definitely taken the forefront of the song right out of the gate. It's got that, not trying too hard energy, which I think...
but also in a way, it's not overcompensating for anything. You know what I mean? Like Dragon Force is like, look at us. We can play really... like, this is how we get famous. Avril's like, just wait till I jump into the chair and you hear the lyrics. You're going to get it. It's going to be fine. This is exactly the riff that it needs to be. It'll make sense. Just, I haven't jumped into the chair yet. All you've seen so far are what would have to have been a large marketing, but guerrilla marketing budget's worth of spray paint cans on the ground.
my
Like,
God.
I don't know what teens are going to Lowe's and being like, the whole shelf, please. You know what I mean? Like,
And it was Rust Olean too. That's the good shit, man.
I was going to ask you, Tom, a little bit of Pat and Tom friend stuff we haven't covered in the last decade or so, 2 decades. Have you ever spray painted anything?
Dude, I really wanted to like be a graffiti artist, probably like sophomore, junior year of high school. I've only tagged one thing in my entire life. It was with a Sharpie in the locker room in the basement at our high school.
I forgot that it was called tagging. There was like a tagging craze, I feel like. Early internet, but the point was for it not to be on the internet, kind of, maybe. I don't know. Like, there was a time when people were tagging, and then 2 years later, people were planking, and it was just like the world's different now in those 2 years. I remember you were trying to develop a tag for a minute. I guess I'm asking because I wasn't sure. I'm not sure I've ever used a spray paint can.
Oh.
Also, is there a legitimate, like, painter's use for a spray paint can?
For a couple things, yeah.
Okay. I imagine there are more efficient ways to apply paint at this point. Is it like only still a product that gets made for graffiti purposes?
Yeah, I don't know what other context there have really been outside of that.
I was going to say, now I'm like, we didn't plan for this, but now I'm in this like crisis over why spray paint cans exist in terms of like the efficiency of painting a wall. It's not even good in MS Paint as a tool. So I'm like, come on, guys. I got a lot of questions.
Dude.
Got a lot of questions about the spray paint can. Anyway, there's a big pile, unrealistic guerrilla marketing budget for this. For From the Jump, quick note on that.
Well, the
perfect riff.
Because the first scene is a guy like belaying down a building, having like
oh my
tagged
God.
the whole
Yeah,
building.
I'm like, is Heath Ledger's Joker and a bunch of dudes in clown masks going to bust out of a bank down the road? Like, this is Christopher Nolan is directing the heist that leads to, not heist, but, you know, this guerrilla effort to stop traffic and make a concert has been directed by Christopher Nolan. Someone's going to die very soon in a very creative and compelling way.
Hey, you know what? I kind of forgot this in the fun facts. You make a joke about Christopher Nolan. The video was actually directed by an Austrian guy, Francis Lawrence, who went on to make Constantine, I Am Legend, 3 of the 4 Hunger Games, and Red Sparrow. And he also directed Lady Gaga's Bad Romance, for which he won a Grammy.
Oh,
so this dude is a fucking badass.
Oh my God. That explains the zip line and it's a very intense, like, but then again, stopping traffic to do a concert is a very intense thing. So I'm glad such a qualified individual was here to walk us through that. Sometimes on the show, absurdity, like you can't, I don't know. What do they say? Art imitates life or whatever. So that's really cool. Good for that guy. And speaks to the intenseness of this setup. And then we go to the warehouse where the people are hanging out, ready to strike.
Hey,
you know,
let me interrupt you for a second. I don't think I've.
Please do.
Okay. Because
don't say you haven't before that, because it definitely has. But I will cede the floor, no problem.
Okay, because these were buried at the bottom of the document here. It gets even crazier than their director. Apparently, a guy named David Zabel, who was hired in 2003 to write a screenplay based on this song, and David Zabel was the executive producer of ER. So, like, there was some serious writing efforts put into this song and everything surrounding it.
Yes.
Just insanity.
From the early days, people like, okay, there's something about making, I want to give something the kids will cry for, but I want to make a lot of money off it. Efforts were frequent and strange in the early days, it seems. That sentence is bizarre, and I don't even know what it means. Sorry for everything, everybody. Okay.
Well, there's this like genre of music video, and I feel like I talk about it every other week, where the video is people running to a performance of the song. And it's kind of like this, I don't know if like hypnotizing or like brainwashing, like that's too harsh of a word, but it's like trying to encourage new people that like everyone loves this band and now you do. You will run to their shows when they're touring through their town. Like it has this like conditioning kind of vibe to it. And okay, Feeling This by Blink, Fireworks by Detroit. One of the songs from Simple Plan's second album did this, In Traffic, where they stopped traffic and everyone just ran to the show. It's so, I don't want to say overdone, but I think this might be one of the best versions of this video that exists.
Yeah, much better than The Great Escape. The Great Escape was just, it's like, hey, let's cut school. Just kidding. Let's wait till let's eat a nice meal, wait till school lets out officially, wait for the bell, and then we will drive with a large group who never separates just to be safe despite some car troubles, attend to the show, have a backup sweater in case it gets chilly, and then have leftover spaghetti the next day to make sure we don't go hungry, put it in Tupperwares, let's just be safe. Decidedly not that punk, but that's okay. It was neon by that point. This is the early days, lots of spray paint, but I think you're right. This is one of the more compelling, hey, there's a show happening. What? Videos of all time. So no, all in on it for sure. Okay, so the intro, spray paint. Okay, something's happening. There's flip phones. An Envy? Is it an Envy we spot? Can we talk about the camcorders and the computers they're using to, I guess, there are digital marketing efforts happening in O2 at this point.
Avril Lavigne was one of the best people at having native advertisements for Nokia phones that there ever has been. There's a Nokia phone in every fucking music video that she's ever done. But the flip phone...
Is that an official promotion?
Yeah. Oh, no, she's getting paid for it. Like, even the camcorder. Okay. Like, they show the camcorder. Look at the quality of Avril through the viewfinder of this camcorder. Like, there's so much native, like, product placement and advertising. It's absolutely insane, and I think it's funny. But the flip phone was actually a pager, and there was like it was like a Motorola SkyTech pager or some shit, like the most outdated sounding thing.
Well, it seems so outdated, and I'm looking up the Blair Witch Project's release date, 1999. Okay, so this was 2002, and I say that it seems not tangential or whatever, but you know, they had one of the best guerrilla marketing efforts for a movie. One of the top, I don't know movies that well, top 25, I'd have to assume top 10 probably, of like maybe the best of all time from a digital standpoint, guerrilla marketing. Like there were these blogs that were setting up the conspiracy theory before the release of the movie officially and everything like that. I just in my head, I'm like, oh, 2002, what was even happening digitally then? But I had to check the Blair Witch thing because, okay, so people were starting to let people know about things online. I guess the screen name of the song should have given that away from the jump. But I guess just, I'm still placing my own nostalgia. I don't want to like grow up and just kind of paint with such a broad brush that it was like, yeah, back then, something stupid. I don't know, just like such a broad brush that you can't really even differentiate between full decades at any point. So I'm trying to separate what 99 was, 02 was, and things like that. But there would have been people online telling each other about this show. I'm just trying to like thumbs up, confirm, totally. Green lighted, totally. Yeah, okay.
There was some kind of old, outdated bulletin board or something. This was, probably pre-MySpace. But
that's what I'm saying. It all happened so quick, and then folk hit, and then I've been unconscious ever since, it feels like. But no, pre-MySpace. But yeah, still there would have been digital forums in some way to hype up this show, both via spray paint on city buildings and digitally in our hearts and minds. Okay, so she jumps into the chair. Let's just talk about it. Hat, tie, t-shirt, already mentioned it. Scene look. Was there a scene look before this? Putting Hot Topic in business for the next decade and a half, give or take. Half punk, half not. You know what I mean? There's not a ton of like Sid Vicious, Johnny Rotten. I don't even know if Sid Vicious is the right reference for this. I'm not, as we mentioned, neither of us are that punk.
Right,
we're both, we're more Simple Plan than we are Ramones for sure on this show. And if you're listening to this now, you're fully aware of that. Half punk, half not, ? New look for the decade in general. The only thing she's missing is a Chris Carrabba's form-fitting polo, I guess. But that was more his scene than hers. But I don't know. Do we spend a lot of time on this? Do we not? It's up to you. I wouldn't mind one way or the other. But it seemed it was just different from that point on. This is my second effort to make this point on this episode. So I don't know. To me, it just seemed like, bam, I'm fucking Avril Lavigne. Like, I'm just famous now. Like, there was no like, I wonder if she'll have a second hit. It's like, oh, this is Avril Lavigne. This is fucking Avril Lavigne. That's just what it felt like rewatching the video. That's all.
which I think this was her second hit, actually. It was the second single.
Damn. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm just a fool.
But yeah, man, I would love for things to go back to this. Just like the Hot Topic punk, like, again, not core or whatever, like the mall punk. But dude, I loved it at the time. I ate up all the studded bracelets and the belts where you took the Sharpie and you colored in patterns on the studded belt. Loved it. I miss it so much.
Yeah, Twitter has had this trend recently where it's like, these are the 4 items I drop when I die, like in a video game. And there was definitely a ton of funny scene ones on, a lot of studded belts and like Cookie Monster fitted hats and shit, like a lot of puffy tongued sneakers in the scene tweets about that particular Twitter joke. But yeah, so 10 minutes before the show, you're saying the timeline of this, a little tight, but they're gonna get her. Pretty rough car they put her in. After
they show a clock saying it's like 10 minutes to noon. So they are starting their marketing effort and start setting up, driving to the show and setting up for the show in 10 minutes, which is impractical to say the least. But again, they're punk rock. They don't care. They're not trying to get there on time for the M&Ms in the green room. They're just going there to rock. And
just going, what green room? We're going out into the fucking streets, dude. We're going to do it in the road, which is a subtle Beatle lyric that you wouldn't have caught, but I'm sneaking them in. I've been sneaking in Beatles lyrics to our episodes for years. Just kidding. This is the only one I've been aware of.
Hey friends, you know what time it is. We are here to thank our Patreon supporters, our Council of Elders. As my dog barks at the mailman in the background, I would like to thank Andre Prevost, the boy Dre, and we got Johnny Leftwich from the Steve Johnson Happy Hour podcast. Thank you both for signing up for the Council of Elders. Thank you to everyone else in our Patreon page. We cannot express enough how much we are grateful for all of you supporting us. If you'd like to see behind the scenes stuff, some bonus photos, post shows, we're going to be doing a live AMA, go to patreon.com/reminiscent and check out the multiple tiers we have to offer. Thank you all so much. Back to the show.
Here's a quick thing about the verses before we talk about the air guitar part in the car. Lots of storytelling. I like the giant verses. That are long and wordy, and I don't know, like, it's nice to be like, hey, here's a pop punk song that isn't about a guy pining, basically. Hey, here's a story, there's skateboards involved, it's fun as it's very, it's just like, thank God, it's just like a nice change of pace, and it's still, as Disney Awards might say, rock. You're not giving anything up, and there's a story being told, and you're in for it, and it's still catchy, and it still manages to say, it's just a fun ride. That's just something I noticed. Like, for as much as I think the riff upon revisitation gave us like, wait, is this a good riff? It doesn't matter. These verses are great. It's super fun. It's a sing-along, fun story. I like them. It's more about the, I don't know. It's just a good song for reasons that we don't normally talk about on the show, I guess. And that's refreshing and fun.
Yeah, it was fast, it was energetic, and it was still approachable, obviously, by its like mainstream success. Everyone knows the song, at least the chorus. And man, it doesn't get much better. I wish I was already playing music in 2002. I didn't really start until like 2004 because this would have been nonstop on repeat for sure. What do you have next?
Peak of the show. This is the moment that matters. The air guitar in the car. They're on the way to the show.
Yeah.
I think this is the most powerful moment. Like you had noted, Sk8er Boi rocking up MTV just plays a bit of the riff with an air guitar while everyone's piling up into a car.
Yeah, two big hits.
So much weight in that moment. Just a quick womp womp. Like, oh, that brings me to my second. Tom and Pat talk about friend stuff real quick, what they haven't covered for the past 20 years. How many people have you fit into a car like this while you were that age?
There was a moment senior year of high school where I was hanging out mostly with kids from Fort LaBeouf, like Ryan Zimmerman and kids from Fort LaBeouf. Yeah, and we would just go to different playgrounds and play. Like, it was the most like non-nefarious thing. I remember my mom showed up once because she was like, "Oh yeah, you kids are going to the playground to play fucking flashlight tag," and she showed up and we were just like playing flashlight tag.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if it was weird for your mom to be like, Yeah, he keeps telling me he's straight edge and then just keep finding out that you're a very well-behaved boy.
But she never trusted me, dude, ever.
Right. Which is weird because you, like, of all the kids to have, I would have loved to have you as a son. I don't know if I've ever told you that. I would have loved to have you as a son, Tom.
Thanks, Dad. I mean, Pat.
JW is your grandpa. Allegedly. Okay,
but I have a picture still on an old hard drive, I believe, from the Motorola Razr, where we all packed into this girl Katie's like 2-door coupe or whatever the hell, and there were like 5 people in the back seat, I remember, and Ryan was like laying across everyone, and I thought it was so funny because like the car's like back was like so low to the ground with like 5 people back there. I think we had maybe 8 people in that car, just going from
that's a good number.
One playground to another.
Yeah.
Someone had to leave early, and so yeah, we all packed into one. Also, one time I was at a graduation party, and my friend Rachel drove us to the beach, and she didn't want too many people to be in the seats because she knew that there was always a cop that camped out on Route 5. So she put 2 of us in the trunk of a car, like no light, the trunk shut on us. So like, I forget who was in the back. It might've been her brother.
That's a lot of blind faith there, man. That's pretty intense.
There's like 2 of us curled up in the trunk going to the beach.
Also, quick, I would say like, pretty reminiscent stuff, guys. You came to the right show. This is putting a lot of people in cars. Pretty reminiscent. I'm just saying. On the nose. Okay. She does the air guitar. She's a star. Second video into her career. Just like, yeah, Canada, doesn't matter. I could have come from wherever. This is happening right now. I am it. I don't know what I've got, but I've got it in spades, motherfucker. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Would you have let someone transport your drum kit on the top of a moving car? Like,
I don't know how they stayed up there, dude.
I know. Well, it had to have been fastened, but then you realize it's part of what they need to expedite the setup for the actual in-traffic show.
Right. I mean, they're like
they would not have had
time
to be like the no roadie DIY scene, like Road Dogg dudes, just like, oh, I'll get it. You know, just one drummer sadly setting up his own drum for like over the course of an hour and a half while taking several smoke breaks and like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I feel like we've all been to that show where it's like, do you need some help, man? It's like, oh, I got it.
Well, are you going to get it like now? That was always, I was the drummer and I always hated how slow people were getting their shit off the stage.
I was going to say, there was a little bit of, that was a little spice in that comment. I'm like, there's a couple stories there, I'm sure it sounds like.
So, okay, we have the people driving the equipment to, what was it, 18th and, what was the street name? Something?
Canada Road.
No, it was in LA, but 8th and Daisy or some I don't remember. Daisy Street. Okay. So then we have BMX bikers on the roof. Are they setting up
cultural
amps on the roof?
Tony Hawk was so fucking famous, people gave a shit about bikes for like a 3-year stretch.
He wasn't a biker, dude.
I know. I'm saying I only gave a shit about, I don't know. They were like, hey, what else is extreme with several X's? Biking? Great. Give me one name. Dave Mira? Fine. What does he do? He spins his handlebars around. Put it in a fucking Avril Lavigne music video. Get it everywhere. Let's sell some fucking bikes, okay? I just remember neighbors of mine having like magazines full of bikes. It's like, damn, this is important. Apparently this is very important. Anyway, I saw that moment. And I'm like, man, I'll never get those 5 years of my life back where I knew a little bit about tiny bikes that I had already outgrown, honestly.
Dude, BMX got huge. Like, I feel like it got huge this spring after I got a mountain bike for Christmas. And it was just like, I know my mom's not going to buy me a second bike this season. So I just had a mountain bike as all my friends were riding BMX.
Or like growing up in Erie, like, or this lifetime. You know what I mean?
Oh God. So
anyway, sorry. Yeah. Too real for both of us. Let's take a deep breath and move right on down the road with this one. Okay, so they get to let's just talk about it. She gets to perform now, right? Like We're getting to the part where the people have gathered. At some point, people will begin to call the police. There's going to be some Grand Theft Auto feel to the amount of vehicles owned by the police department that show up to this particular event. But for a minute, she's just trashing the car she's standing on, just performing her ass off. That boy's mine now, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. And, there's two things I kind of want to talk about. First is it's always crazy to me that, having been in like quote unquote the music scene for a long time, having played for mostly empty rooms of people, what actually happens when someone doesn't know the music is they stand like 15 feet away from the stage with their arms crossed and like lightly nod their heads. In music videos, all these people are like losing their fucking minds for an artist they've never heard of before. And it's so optimistic, and I love the optimism.
You've done that in the past, I feel like.
What?
Just lost it at a show. You are the most hyped dude at a show for everybody.
Yeah.
You practice what you preach, and what I'm saying. Like, I wish more people were like you, because all shows would be that way. We wouldn't have to use absurdity to break up pits that get dumb. I don't know. If everybody at a show was Tom, it'd be a good show, is what I'm saying.
Thanks, Dad.
You have a thank my questionably biological father JW for instilling these values in me.
The second thing is I want to talk about, how do you feel about choruses where the last one is like a twist, where they like change a little bit
the
of
storytelling.
You like
it wasn't like,
okay,
why doesn't this girl like me until now? Every year of my life, that's the only music I've ever cared about. It's like, hey, guess what? I hope you've been listening, because there's it's not just like, I don't know. There's a funny thing on one of the podcasts Ocean City Soundtrack's lead singer was on. He talked about being produced by Mark Hoppus. And they were like, hey, let's find the part that's good and then just put it in the song as much as we can, basically, was like the loose philosophy of their recording structure, which that's the pop part of punk, I guess, the pop part of pop punk. I works on me, that's for sure. But it's nice that there's enough thoughtfulness to be like, hey, yeah, I remember that Sk8er Boi. You mentioned him earlier. Oh, you're with him? Oh my God. Wow, this has come full circle, hasn't it? It's just kind of refreshing that there was any thought other than like, what's the catchy part? Let's put it in the song a lot. I think there's a thoughtfulness there, and I really like it.
It's not that I don't like it. I appreciate the twist, but it makes me think of like, it's always like so dramatic, I think of like that song 3 Wooden Crosses, where it's like, oh, the preacher is like the hooker kind of thing. Like, okay, I get it. Mystery solved. But like, there's this thing like coming from theater where it's like the last chorus, it's so dramatic, where it's like, and that boy was me. And it's like, oh, he's the boy. Like, I don't know.
It's me, the Joker, from the famous Dark Knight movie directed by Christopher Nolan.
Like,
it is I who jokes.
There's always, I don't know. That's like something I yell.
That boy was me.
That's something I yell in the house a lot to make Megan laugh. And that boy was me. It's just like really bad storytelling, like obviously, but I like the way
you should do it on the pod more to make me laugh. You can get more mileage out of that shit. I'm just learning about it now, and I love it.
But I like the way it's done in this song. It's eloquent. It's, I don't know.
And that boy was
Brava. Okay.
No, that wasn't even good. That was too indulgent to be worth the payoff. But we should only use that joke on the show. Every joke's going to be a that boy was me joke. I love this a lot. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, honestly.
A couple things.
Yeah, we got to finish the episode, but that boy was me is rocking my fucking world right now.
I just want to say it over and over. All right.
And that boy who was me. Can't go high. That's why I went low the first time. Can't go high. Okay, let's finish it.
All right. So they're performing. There's a blonde girl that gets fucking trampled to death and then arrested.
Wait, well,
is that the girl from like the first chorus? From the first verse?
You know, I didn't pick up on anything at all like that, but I'd have to, that's an interesting theory. I'd like to hear what our fans think about. Tweet at us at _reminiscentfm if you saw that as well.
Yeah, it seemed like they were trying to get like revenge because it's like, oh, that boy's mine now. So Avril's like, I'm with the guy, the girl. I'm going to watch her die and not even stop singing.
That boy's hers now, and that boy was me. Sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm having a great time. Okay, that boy's mine now, that line. I made a note not to keep drawing unnecessarily Paramore parallels, but thinking about it like Misery Business, just like, I don't know, from the other perspective, we already went over this. The other perspective was refreshing to me. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think mostly she's ends up breaking the windshield of the car. Avril, she's dancing around like, oh, okay, she's denting up the hood. Got to get the Rust Valley Restorers in here to get this thing back on the road. But just kidding, that'd be miles away in Canada. Not even geographically, it just wouldn't make sense. But yeah, I don't have much else to add other than in terms of Grand Theft Auto rules, she didn't do enough to warrant the helicopter at the end, I guess.
Yeah, that's like a 4 or 5 star type thing.
That's a lot of stars. That's maybe a 2-star call in my book. But quick note about Wilkesboro,
yes,
North Carolina,
yes,
in the elementary school on her T-shirt. Did she? I guess a lot of people in that early 2000s, quote unquote emo, whatever, tight shirts were just the vibe. But tight old athletic T-shirts seemed to be just.
Oh yeah.
When I talk about her landing on that chair, every element of what she was wearing when she lands in the chair ended up being a fucking major player in like the 2000 scene wardrobe. I think there's a weight to that. There's a whole relevance to that, especially the fact that there's an MTV article online that apparently it was kind of a small gold mine for that elementary school. Like she found it at a Goodwill, as the story goes, but apparently that North Carolina middle school ended up getting a little bit of quiche for the fact that she was just wearing their like elementary school sports logo. Any quick thoughts before we end the episode? Or I know you probably have a few more points about the whole tight T-shirt thing that maybe isn't the school you went to or the team you played for. You just found it probably at a Goodwill. Right. Thoughts on tight T-shirts in general that aren't polos.
Right.
Important distinction.
I think in like 2007, the coolest thing that you could do was like have a $2 Salvation Army shirt for a sport you didn't play at a school you didn't go to. Like I had this baseball shirt from like Girard and it was like, haha, it's ironic because I fucking hate baseball and I've never even been to Girard. And I just thought it was like, it was this thing that I noticed like all my friends in the music scene, like, oh, they don't go to that school. That's hilarious. And of course,
it's funny you say that. All my baseball friends who grew up to be scene kids, just at the time when they were kids, the Little League T-shirts were oversized but fit them as high school adults. So these very aged and worn like Lawrence Park Little League T-shirts would ending up at a lot of shows, I guess. I'm like, oh, shit, I should have kept more of mine. Not that I hadn't already, but it was just kind of like, this counts, right? What if it's just one I've had for years? That's like a dedication aspect, right? I definitely didn't go out and buy the shirt. Okay, yeah, I guess we don't get to see whether or not Avril ends up in handcuffs, but they pull off the show. The marketing budget worked both digitally and guerrilla style via spray paint on the city streets. And it seemed like a pretty good show, as we mentioned, and the rest is quite literally history. One of the best videos, songs, hooks. If Spin says it, I'm not even ironically trying to poke fun at Spin. I mean, like, it's got to be top 5 in anybody's book in terms of 2000s pop punk hooks, if not higher. Just put some respect on the name, I guess, is really what the moral of this story is, I think, from my point of view. How about you?
I would love to speculate a follow-up music video for her third single where she's in jail and the whole video is like a heist to break out of jail. That would have been killer, like a continuation of this music video. But one of the greats of the era, this chorus, the whole song, the storytelling, the verses, the lead guitar line, especially as I get like more into skateboarding now and I'm following a lot of skateboarders and stuff on Instagram, you see a lot of them using this song in their stories. I don't know if it's like kind of ironically, but either way, it's fun to see the song still kicking around. The whole 8, in the title, Sk8er Boi and BOI nonetheless. a cultural phenomenon that I really loved at the time, and I appreciate it even more today.
Yeah. I'm ready to do songs of the week. I think you put a nice bow on that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, do you have one, or want me to go first?
Yeah, a couple people have been tweeting at us, our friends from the UK, which is weird to even say or admit, talking about bands that they may or may bands that they think or assume are huge in the States that just aren't as big as maybe they think.
Right.
And this might speak to how bad or ill-informed I am or we are. But Biffy Klyro is a band that our UK Twitter mates have been tweeting at us a lot. And they have an album out pretty recently, and track 1, North of No South, is my song of the week this week. Pretty interesting conversation with them about, I guess they've been a band for a while. I mean, not I guess, they have been. They've just been killing it. And apparently a lot of people in the States already know them except me. And maybe I'm just the idiot here. But North of No South, a good song, but kind of obviously they've been a band for a while. And this is kind of maybe a poppier effort. Their earlier stuff sounded weirder and probably more endearing to the people who are actually fans of the band. Anyway, this is for the UK people on Twitter who were tweeting at us and having a nice conversation about Biffy Klyro.
All right. Eastwood finally put out their album today. The opening track, Fairweather Friends, is very good. I really enjoy it. I recommended False Start featuring Nathan Hardy a couple weeks ago, but the album's pretty fun. I don't think it's going to be something that I like have heavily on rotation for the rest of my life, but I especially really like the opening song, and the second song, False Start, really strong start to the album. So yeah, Fairweather Friends by Eastwood. And that will conclude this episode to the post show for Patreon supporters.
We'll talk about how we had trouble getting the show started today.
God, dude. Okay. Let's do it.
I sang Mulan and we didn't even defeat the Huns. It's a sad state of affairs. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. We love you. And hit us up on Twitter at Reminiscent FM. Tom, I love you as well.
All right. Love you too, man. See ya. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. How incredible is Avril Lavigne? What a fucking legend. Hit us up on Twitter at _Reminiscent FM. Let us know the first time you heard Sk8er Boi, what you thought about the spelling, if it was your AIM screen name, in a way message, any of that stuff. We'd love to hear from you. The most fun part of doing this show is hearing from you all and hearing your take on the episodes we discuss. We love you all so much. We'll talk to you next week. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.